So I was on Reddit the other day and there was a post from this guy. He just bought a house and he had one bomb, then another blow up, and all these things were going wrong at his house. And it was this long Reddit post and he was basically, what did I just do? Did I just make a huge mistake in buying a house? In today's video, I want to go over a couple bombs that I have seen over the years. The reality is there's a lot of them. I could make a multi-day video, but I'm going to give you 5 bombs, teach you how to defuse them or how to avoid them altogether so that you aren't like that guy. My name is Jankowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Somerville and Cambridge, Massachusetts. I've closed over 300 deals in the last 3 years. I've been living in and around Somerville for the last 10-ish years. Before you get into this video, please take a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment. There's a Calendly link in the description below. If you have questions, if you disagree with me, set up a Calendly. I'd love to talk with you. Let's do it. Now let's get into the video. The first thing, this is a big one. It's called a special assessment. This is specifically if you're buying a condo. Now, what is a special assessment? Well, basically when you're a condo owner, you own a unit within a building with multiple units. And so you're paying a certain amount each month called an HOA fee that's going towards a budget to pay for all the things that happen in terms of the common expenses. It could be landscaping, it could be snow removal, it could be just like ongoing issues with the roof or the heating system if it's a shared heating system, etc. A special assessment is a situation where the condo association needs more money basically. And so how are they going to raise that money? They're going to have you pay for it. So if you don't ask the seller, are there special assessments that you know of, that you're aware of, or that are planned and coming, you could be in a situation where you buy a condo and a month or two later, you can be dinged with a bill. And I'm going to tell you guys a real quick story. I have a client who owns multiple properties in the area. They were hit with, I think it was a 40,000 plus special assessment. So it can be really expensive. Sometimes it's paid all at once. Sometimes it's a smaller amount and then the monthly HOA fee is increased. Sometimes it's both. So it can be very expensive. So it actually was also extremely stressful. It took a long time. It took 2 years. At this point, this particular client was actually renting out the property and there was a lot of loud construction noise. So it was very disruptive to the tenants. So he had to give a huge discount on rent. The tenants were unhappy. There were delays. So special assessments can be an absolute nightmare. So always ask, is there a special assessment? It will save you so much stress and grief beforehand. And then at least you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. The second one, understand your condo rules and regulations. You really got to do this. Your rules and regulations, this is condo only, but there's a lot of condos in Somerville. The rules and regs will break down what you are allowed to do and what you aren't allowed to do in that particular condo. Now, there's a lot of boilerplate language that you'll see over and over, but you really got to read them carefully because a lot of times there can be amendments, there can be some weird language that are like, whoa, what is that? So some common ones that you want to look for, if you have a pet, check the pet restrictions. Some condos don't allow pets. Some have a limitation around how many pets you have, or breeds, or the weight, or the type of pet. So that's a really important one if you have pets, of course. Some have approvals with pets, so that can get a little tricky. Another big one is rental restriction. A lot of my clients either buy as an investment or buy to live in and then convert it into an investment. Some buildings do not allow rentals at all. I have seen that. More commonly, they tend to have a minimum length of usually like 6 months plus. So I have some people who reach out to me. They want to go crazy on Airbnb for a lot of reasons. Somerville is not a great Airbnb place. That's for another video, but just read the documentation thoroughly. Depending on your situation, you may uncover things that really won't work for you. Next one, unbalanced condo ownership stakes. This is kind of a sneaky one. Don't see it that much, but when you do see it, you really got to be careful. I saw one of these about a month ago. And basically, a lot of condos in Somerville in particular were originally 2 or 3 family properties that were then converted into condos. So for example, it's a 3-family house at one point, one owner, that owner decided to split it into 3 separate condos and then maybe sell them off or live in one, who knows? But now there's 3 condos, there's an association, these are 3 separate condos under one roof. When that happens, there can be a situation where basically one person decides to buy 2 of those 3 condos, or the owner decides to keep 2 of them and then sell 1 of them. Well, you really want to read how the voting rights work in these scenarios, because what happens if all the major decisions are based on a 2/3 majority? Well, in this particular scenario, you could could have a situation where one owner gets to make all the decision. What happens if this owner doesn't have a lot of cash and the roof is leaking into your third floor unit and you need a new roof, but they have all the control and they don't have the money and don't want to do it? You're in trouble. That's what happens. So you have to be really, really careful in looking at your ownership stakes. Again, this is not a common one, but it's the type of thing where you just want to check that box and be sure that that's not the scenario in, so you're not in trouble. Before I get back into the video, please take a second to subscribe. Please like this video. And if you have any questions, find my Calendly link in the description below. So let's set up a meeting. Let's talk about it. Happy to answer any questions you guys might have. Next one, permits being pulled. This is kind of an interesting one. Sometimes you're going to go through a property and you're going to see things that just look a little janky. You go to a roof deck and you're like, did this person like get a TaskRabbit person to do this roof? Like, what's going on here? Or you'll look at a bathroom and you're like, this bathroom's meant for like a person that's a very interesting shape, because you have to kind of angle it. If you get into a situation like that where things seem a little off, there probably is something off, and there's a good chance that permits weren't pulled. And so what you can actually do is you can call the town's inspectional services, you can talk with them, you can ask them to look it up. It can get a little sticky because every town's a little different. It's not always easy to reach people. Sometimes you don't have a lot of time, but it's something definitely worth doing if something seems really, really off, and it can save you a lot of potential costs and heartache in the future. Because if it's a situation where in the future the town needs to get into the property and they see this and they see it's not to code, you might be on the hook to make the fix. So that's another one. Doesn't happen too often, but just do your homework. If something seems off, just check it out to be sure everything's all good. Last one. This is for especially people who maybe aren't from around here. A lot of times, I remember when I first started looking for a rental in the Boston area when I was in my early 20s, and I saw a unit and it said garden level, and I got so like, ooh, there's gonna be beautiful lush gardens around me. This sounds awesome. Garden level actually just means a basement unit. So just be aware of that. A lot of people get to a property. This happens like a lot of times for the very first time they see garden level and they get there and like, what? Where's the garden? There's no garden. It's just a basement unit. I generally advise clients not to buy garden level units. The main reason being that when you buy a garden level unit, in general, it will appreciate at a slower rate. Appreciate means grow in value at a slower rate. So expect not to see as good of a return if you're living in a garden level unit. And so that's something to be really important about. There can be water issues if it's an older garden level unit, which can be an ongoing, really unpleasant situation, which I have had clients experience occasionally. But in general, I'd say avoid it. The one exception might be if you have a really tight budget, you really need to be in this place, you understand it's not going to be a great investment, and you just kind of need to get into a Cambridge or Somerville, and otherwise you wouldn't be in. That could be the one exception that I could see, but that's pretty much it. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please take a second to subscribe, like, comment. If you have questions, hit me up on Calendly. Let's set up a call. I'm here to chat. Have a good one, guys.